Hello everyone! Today's video is going to be a review of my travels in 2018 and a preview of what might be coming up in 2019. Okay, so first of all, Happy New Year. And in 2018, we took 6 trips. And if you remember from one of my earlier videos, my definition of a trip is one where we travel somewhere and spend at least one night overnight in a hotel. So for the most part, these were shorter, but 6 is still pretty good in a year because that's basically averaging one every 2 months. Although in 2018, they were pretty clumped together. Okay, the first 2 were before I started my YouTube channel, so I didn't post any footage of those, but I will tell you about them. The first one was our spring break in March, and that was actually just a one-nighter. My daughter was in a show. What show was she in? I want to say it was Charlotte's Web, maybe. She was in the chorus. It was either Charlotte's Web or Pinocchio, one of those. And it went over the first weekend of our spring break, so we couldn't do a long spring break because we lost that first weekend. And so we just went on a one-night overnight to Wisconsin Dells. We did kind of a different sort of thing that time. We stayed overnight at the Hampton Inn in Wisconsin Dells, which is relatively new, and which was very nice. We went to Kalahari Resort, but only the theme park, not the water park. And I think we were gonna try to go to the water park, but it was too busy or something. I can't remember. You can do day passes at the water park at Kalahari. You cannot do that at Great Wolf Lodge. Great Wolf Lodge, to use their water park, you have to be a guest. But Kalahari does allow day passes, but for some reason we decided not to do that, and we just went to the theme park and spent several hours there. You get wristbands for like unlimited rides, and then you have to also, if you want to play like the ticket games, because it's really a big arcade too, you have to pay for those separately. I don't remember that we did any of that. We just did the attractions that you get with your wristband. And there's things like, there's a go-kart track, there's a Ferris wheel, there's laser tag, rock climbing wall, ropes course, there's some other smaller rides, there's a carousel. It's fun. And I did notice recently on Facebook it changed its name now to Tomfooleries. So I don't know if Kalahari doesn't own it anymore, even though it's physically in their building, or if they just sold the or they did something with the management and like who's running it. I'm kind of wary about that. Does anybody know anything about that? And I don't know, do they have theme parks at the other Kalahari resorts elsewhere in the country or only in Wisconsin Dells? I don't actually know. I've only been to the one in Wisconsin Dells. Okay, so we did that. And then the second day, we went to House on the Rock, which I talked about in my 10 cool places to visit in Wisconsin video, which I will link up above. And Ben just loved it. He thought that was the coolest place. Megan and I had been there before. I think Megan and Andrew and I went. Yeah, we did, when Ben was younger and he wasn't with us. And but Ben had never been there. So watch that video for my description of what that's like. And then we went home. So it was just a short little 2-day, one-night trip. Then in June, Ben and I did a trip together, just he and I. And again, it was just a one-night stay while Megan was away at camp, one of her 3 camps she went to last summer. We went to the Twin Cities and we stayed at the brand new Great Wolf Lodge in Bloomington, right next to Mall of America. And that used to be a Radisson, and it has a water park in it, which was called Water Park of America. And again, you could do day passes. And so I think now that it's a Great Wolf Lodge, you can't do that anymore. They even took out some of the the desk and stuff that was there where you used to be able to come in and just go to the water park, because we had done that in the past. They did a beautiful job on that renovation. That's a very nice Great Wolf Lodge. The rooms are really nice. It's, despite the fact that it's considerably smaller than most of the Great Wolf Lodges, especially the one in Wisconsin Dells, it's beautifully themed. They did a very, very nice job, and I would highly recommend it. So we stayed there, and we went to historic Fort Snelling, which Ben had never been to before. And we went to Mall of America, but we didn't do Nickelodeon Universe. We just did Flyover America, which is an attraction. It's very similar to Soarin' at Disney. And we bought, when you left, you could buy half-price tickets for your next visit within a year. And I did. And then we went back there again with Megan later in the summer. And then, did we do anything else? I feel like we went someplace else. Fort Snelling, Mall of America. Boy, I sure feel like we did something else, but I don't know what it was. But anyway, Ben and I that was the first time that Ben and I had ever done an overnight trip together, just he and I. So that was kind of special. Then we had several clumped very close together. Somewhere there in June, we also went to Valley Fair, but we did not stay overnight. We came back that same night after Valley Fair closed. We got home very late. I remember the kids remarked, wow, this is like the latest we've ever stayed up. I think we stayed up later once at Disney World, but anyway. In July, we took 2 trips. And those I documented on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link to something up there because there's quite a few videos about that. And they were on the 2 ends of Megan going to her theater camp at UW Whitewater. We had to drive her down there. The first one, we went on kind of a big circular route, and we drove over to Green Bay. I remember in the nonstop pouring rain, something like we had yesterday here. So fun for December. And we stayed overnight in Green Bay, and we stayed in Hampton Inn, and I made a video reviewing that room. And then we went to Manitowoc, and we went to the Wisconsin Maritime Museum. And then and then I had to make a Misadventures in Travel video, which I will link up there, because of my forgetfulness thing. Yeah. So you can watch that if you want a good laugh at my expense. And then we drove down to, actually south of Milwaukee, stayed a second night at a Town Place Suites in Oak Creek, and I made a video about that. It's in my room reviews. And then we took Megan to the camp, and then Ben and I went home. And then I remember on that way home we had car trouble. Nothing that prevented us from driving, but they started to make a freaky noise, and in between those 2 trips I had to get the car fixed. It was a ball joint, I think. Ball joint? Yeah. Had to be replaced. Anyway, and then a week later, we went back to pick up Megan. So this would be our 4th trip of the year. And we drove straight down to Milwaukee, and Ben and I stayed at a very nice New Hampton Inn near the Milwaukee Zoo and the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds, which I also made a room review of. That one was very nice. And we went to the Milwaukee Zoo, had a really fun time there. I made a video about that too. I'm going to run out of the ability to put them up here, but you can look them up on my channel. And then we went to, we stayed in that creepy, weird Hampton, downtown Milwaukee. And that whole visit in downtown Milwaukee, it kind of felt like the apocalypse had happened or something. It was really weird and creepy. And we went to that lighthouse, the North Point Light Station, and we went to Discovery World in downtown Milwaukee. And then we went and stayed someplace else because that hotel creeped me out. And it was a Hilton Garden Inn in Oconomowoc, I think. I made a review about that too. And then we went and picked Megan up. Or no, we went to Old World, Wisconsin in the morning because we couldn't pick Megan up until the afternoon. We went to Old World, Wisconsin. We left Old World, Wisconsin, went to UW Whitewater, saw Megan's little performance that they put on, and then took her back with us to Old World, Wisconsin in the afternoon and spent more time there until it closed. And then we drove home. So that was our 4th trip. Yeah. Our 5th trip was another 1-night stay. So that one was a 3-night stay. Our 5th trip was just a couple weeks later, or a week later, in the beginning of August. Megan went to another camp. She went to French camp at Concordia Language Villages in Bemidji, which, by the way, she did not like at all. So I'm not going to recommend that to you because she hated it. So we went up to the cities and we went to Nickelodeon Universe at Mall of America, which I made a video about. And we used those second set of tickets that I bought for half price when we had been to Fly Over America. We used those. Megan absolutely loved Fly Over America. I would totally do that again. It's really fun. And it was very refreshing in the summer because they spray water on you and stuff, and it's great. And then we stayed overnight at a Hampton Inn we had never been to in the area of the University of Minnesota. And then we took her to the bus in the morning, which picked her up at St. Catherine's University, which is just down the street from St. Thomas, where my son goes, and dropped her off at the bus, and then we came home. And then when we went back to pick her up, did we pick her up? Yeah, we did pick her up. Oh, that was a whole thing. We tried to get her, because they went to the airport first, and we tried to go pick her up at the airport, and they wouldn't let us, and that was stupid. Anyway, but we just went up and back in one day to pick her up when she came back. But then, very shortly after that, like maybe a week or two later, also in August, we went on our cruise. And that was our longest and last trip of 2018. We went up to the cities and stayed in a Hampton Inn, which I reviewed. It's in my room reviews. I can't remember what the town was. It's like east of St. Paul there. It was a new one, very nice. We stayed there one night. The kids swam in the pool and stuff and just had fun. Then we went to the airport in the morning. We flew to Miami. We stayed one night in Miami. It was very, very hot. I reviewed that hotel too. Not as impressed with that one. And then we went on our 4-night cruise on Mariner of the Seas to the Bahamas. And then we came back. So those were our 6 trips of 2018. I was pretty contented with how much traveling we did in the summer. Sometimes summer can get pretty long and boring for us. And we did a lot of things this summer, and it was really a fun, full, good summer. And Megan was in a couple of shows, and so it was good. The summer was like packed full of stuff, and we had a lot of nice time together. And that's when Ben and I started our YouTube channels. So that was kind of fun, getting to learn how to do all that and everything. So, but now it's been, 4 months since we've been anywhere. So that brings me to 2019. What do we have coming up? Well, very quickly here. Well, actually, by the time I post this video, Andrew will be gone. Andrew will have left for Italy the day before I post this. So I will be driving him to the airport, and he will be in Italy for 23, 24 days, doing a J-term class. It's a history class, and it's actually an interdisciplinary class, but he's using it for his history minor. And he's actually starting in Sicily. They're going to like 3 or 4 different places in Sicily, and Sicily is bigger than I thought, not when I've been studying the map. And then that's like the first half. And then the second half, he's going to be in Rome, which he's very excited about because he's always wanted to go to Rome. So, and then they fly back. They go over as a group. They come back as a group. They're together the whole time. He had contemplated doing some of it on his own and doing a little traveling on his own afterwards, but then wisdom and the not spending too much money won out, and he decided to just stick with the group. So I'll have to go back and pick him up. Ooh. I think he comes back on a Monday, and I got some good news about work today, so I might have to work that day and have to send somebody else to pick him up. But anyway, we'll figure that out. Then, in mid-February, Megan is going on her school music trip to New Orleans. I think I've talked about this in a previous video, I'm not sure which one, about how our high school in our town goes on a performance trip, the whole music department, like 400 kids on like 7, 8 big coach buses, somewhere every other year. So they go every even year. When Andrew was in school, he did they did a cruise. They drove to Port Canaveral and did a 3-night cruise on Monarch of the Seas. Monarch? I think it was Monarch. And they performed on the ship and everything. And then the other one he got to go to, because if you're in the high school the whole 4 years, you get to do 2, was they went to Dallas, Texas, and did a bunch of stuff there. And that actually turned out to be a way cooler trip than I thought it was going to be as far as what they got to do. That one, though, the only negative about that one, which I mentioned in a previous video, was that he got stuck there because the highways all closed because they had an ice storm. And he almost didn't make it back in time for our family trip to Disney World that we took in 2015. But he made it back just in time. Like, I'm talking less than an hour. So anyway, so she has that trip coming up to New Orleans. They'll be driving to New Orleans, and they're doing a bunch of stuff in New Orleans, and she's excited about that. And that's it. That's all we have definitively planned. Now, what am I hoping to do? Okay, here's the thing. There's 4 of us in our family. Me, my 3 kids. Top choices. I would really like to go to Disney World. I'm having Disney World withdrawal and I really want to go to Disney World. Specifically, I would really like to go to Disney World before Galaxy's Edge opens. Because, first of all, I really don't care. I really don't care about Pandora, and I really don't care about Galaxy's Edge. My son Andrew is excited about both of them. He loved Avatar, and he doesn't understand why they haven't made the other movies yet. And he loves Star Wars. My brother also loved Star Wars. So, and I'm sure Ben will like it. I really don't care. I mean, I'll go, I'll see it. It's probably going to be really cool, but it's not something that I'm excited about or looking forward to. You know, it's not like I'm like planning my life around it like some people are. I just really, whatever. I'm actually more interested in going to visit. I don't really care for Universal, but I'd rather go see the Harry Potter stuff at Universal than I would that. So anyway, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to plan a trip where Andrew's not going to be with us to go to Animal Kingdom and see the new Pandora stuff, which is still crazy busy, or to go to Galaxy's Edge if he's not going to be with us, since he's the one who really wants to go. So kind of a side note there. The other thing is, I don't want to go when it's maddening, crazy busy when something first opens. I mean, you still can't get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train very easily, and that's been open for 5 years. So, you know, when something new comes to Disney parks, it's crazy busy for a while. So anyway, but I really would like to go to Disney World. Oh, on the Galaxy's Edge note, I'm okay with them adding that to Hollywood Studios. I think that's a fairly reasonable fit for what is happening there. This may be controversial. You guys tell me what you think in the comments, but I do not agree with them adding Galaxy's Edge to Disneyland. I just think it doesn't fit. It's wrecking it. I don't know. I feel like they should have either not done it at Disneyland on the West Coast at all, or I don't know what. I just don't see it. It just seems like it's going to skew the park all weird, and it didn't fit in California Adventure either, but I don't know. I think they should have just skipped it over there. But anyway, yeah, I don't agree with that. It's the pathways and everything are too narrow. They've had no luck in Anaheim getting them to let them build another hotel or the walkway over the road, or I don't know what's going to happen with that. I have concerns. Okay. Andrew really wants to go on a cruise. Okay. Megan wants to go back to Disneyland in California. We went there when that's coming up on my favorite trips. We went there in 2012. That's the last time we were there. So it'll be 7 years since last time we were there. And she was only 7 years old and she doesn't remember it very well. Just that she had a very good time. She would really like to go back to Disneyland. Ben really wants to go to Legoland. He wants to go to Disney. He'd be good with anything, honestly. But he really wants to go to Legoland. And I feel the window closing of him, of opportunity to take him there, because he's already 10, he's going to be 11 soon, and I feel like he's getting too old for it. And actually, he got one Lego thing for Christmas this year, and it's still sitting down there half put together. It was for 12 and up, and it might be too hard for him. He needs Andrew to help him. But he's just really kind of lost interest in Lego stuff. So what would I like to do? What do I wish I could do? I wish I could do all 4. I would like to take Ben to Legoland in February while Megan's on her trip to New Orleans. I think that would be really cool. Now, because of this, I got a new opportunity at work, and I probably am not going to be able to do that now, it sounds like, because I will have to work. So that's probably out. But say we could do that. I'd like to go to Disneyland at spring break because, as I said, Megan's probably going to be doing a show again the first weekend of spring break, which would make it shorter for us, so Disneyland would work nicely there. And Galaxy's Edge won't be open yet, so yay! I would like to go on a cruise over the summer in August when Andrew and we all could go together, celebrate Andrew's graduation, one more family trip before Andrew goes to law school. That would be cool. And then maybe we could go to Disney World at Thanksgiving. That would be awesome. It'd be a special bonus for me if Galaxy's Edge wasn't open there yet either. They don't know when it's going to open. Can we do all that? Of course not. That would cost a fortune. But those are what I would like to do. So we're very up in the air because we're very up in the air with my work stuff. We're very up in the air with money. And we're very up in the air because we don't know what Andrew's going to be doing in 6 months. He's still applying to law schools. We don't know where he's going to be going, and where he goes is going to determine where he is this summer. So 2019 is kind of a big question mark. So except for Andrew going to Italy and Megan going to New Orleans, those are the only things that are set. The rest is just going to be a kind of wait and see. I foresee a last minute trip in my future, possibly, because I really don't know what we're going to be doing. So wait and see. And I have some more favorite trips coming up. I think I have 4 more videos of those for you coming up, and that should take us into February. And then maybe we'll get to go somewhere. I will definitely do something with the kids at spring break no matter what, even if it just is going to the Dells or something. But we'll have some footage coming about that. So again, Happy New Year, everyone. And thank you for joining me today. Safe travels.